What's up, guys? You ever look at a revolver and think, damn, maybe Grandpa was right all along? Because in 2025, these wheel guns aren't just surviving, they're outselling some of your favorite plastic fantastic semi-autos. Yeah, you heard that right. While everyone's busy chasing optics-ready slides and 20-round mags revolvers are quietly creeping back onto bestseller charts. Gunbroker guns. Come and even range rental stats are showing a trend that nobody saw coming unless you've been around long enough to appreciate steel simplicity and 6 shots of justice. So today we're counting down 7 revolvers that are outselling semi-autos this year. And no, it's not just FUDs buying them. These guns are proving that old school doesn't mean obsolete. Stick around. You might just find yourself wanting a wheel gun after this, or at least respecting the comeback. Let's get into it. There's something reassuring about a revolver that feels like it was machined from a single block of American resolve, and the 686 Plus is exactly that. This isn't just another steel wheel gun. It's the revolver that makes people who hate revolvers stop and say, okay, that's pretty damn nice. In 2025, it's been climbing sales charts like it's training for a heavyweight title fight, Gunbroker and Guns. Consistently rank it among their top-selling revolvers, especially in the 4 inches and 6 inches barrel configurations. It's a mid to high-end choice, but clearly shooters aren't flinching at the price. You get 7 rounds of .357 Magnum in a full-lug stainless steel frame with adjustable rear sights and an action smoother than half the double-action semi-autos people keep overpaying for. The trigger crisp in single action, manageable in double. It's the kind of gun that makes range days feel more serious, like you're there for work, not play. Performance-wise, the 686 Plus absorbs recoil like a champ, especially with full-power Magnum loads. Whether you're shooting paper steel or something with fur and bad intentions, it handles all of it without a hiccup. And with aftermarket grips and holsters all over the place, it's not hard to make this gun fit your hand or your life. Compared to the sea of striker-fired polymer pistols flooding the market, the 686 Plus stands out by refusing to compromise. It's not trying to be tactical or trendy. It's just a damn good revolver, and people are finally remembering how valuable that is. Let the Glocks have their glory. The 686 Plus is for people who don't want to wonder if their handgun will work. It just will, and it'll look good doing it. The new generation Colt Python didn't just walk back onto the stage. It showed up in a tailored suit, adjusted its cufflinks, and reminded everyone why the name still matters. Colt's Gen 2 Python, especially the 2025 6-inch blued model, has been selling fast not just to collectors, but to shooters who want premium without apology. Let's be honest, when Colt brought back the Python in 2020, it was a mixed bag. Fit and finish looked great, but early models had their quirks. Fast forward to 2025, and those issues have been tuned out. This latest iteration feels like the spiritual successor the original deserved: refined, robust, and surprisingly capable at the range. Built from stainless steel and chambered in .357 Magnum, the Python now comes with modern internals that make the double action smoother and the lockup tighter. The 6-round cylinder fits neatly into that full underlug barrel, giving it not just visual balance, but real-world steadiness when firing. What separates it from the pack isn't just the nostalgia, it's the undeniable quality. This is a revolver that holds zero like a rifle when benched. The sights are sharp, the trigger is predictable, and the recoil impulse is less punishing than you'd expect from a Magnum. You can shoot this thing all afternoon and still feel like a gentleman. In a world of CNC machined everything, the Python feels sculpted, not stamped. And while the price sits firmly in the "you better mean it" category, that hasn't stopped it from outselling many premium 1911s and duty pistols this year. Python didn't just come back, it returned with grace power and a little bit of arrogance, and frankly, it earned all three. There's no mistaking the GP100 for anything other than what it is: a workhorse, unapologetically overbuilt and made to be run hard. Holding one feels like you've picked up a tool, not a toy. It's the revolver equivalent of a socket wrench that could double as a sledgehammer. That's part of why it stayed near the top of the charts in 2025. While others chase ultralight carry options or tactical bells and whistles, the GP100 quietly racks up sales among folks who care more about longevity than novelty. Whether chambered in .357 Magnum, .327 Federal, or even .22 LR, it covers more ground than most handguns in its class. The full underlug barrel, solid frame, and triple locking cylinder give it a level of durability that's more felt than measured. Add in a clean DASA trigger and an intuitive takedown system, and you've got a gun that can be maintained by someone with a Leatherman and a YouTube video. At the range, recoil is noticeably tamed by the gun's heft. That extra weight, once a drawback for concealed carry, turns into a bonus when shooting full-house magnums. The rubber grips with wood inlays are classic Ruger, practical, comfortable, and surprisingly good at keeping your hand from shifting shot to shot. For those who want one revolver to cover everything from woods carry to home defense, it's hard to fault the GP100. It's not glamorous, but glamour doesn't stop a threat or drop steel at 25 yards. Revolvers like this aren't here to impress, they're here to endure. And if you ask any range officer or seasoned shooter which revolver they'd trust to take a beating and keep running, odds are they'll point to the GP100 without saying much else. That's silence. That's respect. No one expected Taurus to drop a revolver that would punch above its price point and then keep punching all year long, but that's exactly what the 856 Defender has done in 2025. It's not some boutique revolver trying to win over the gun snob crowd. It's a blue-collar carry gun that sells because it works. Compact and chambered in 38 Special Plus P, the Defender comes with a 3-inch barrel, a front night sight, and 6 shots in the cylinder, one more than most snubbies in its size class. More importantly, it's priced within reach of first-time gun owners, and that alone has put it in direct competition with the budget 9mm that usually dominate the concealed carry market. Sales reports from June and July show the Defender outperforming several entry-level semi-autos, particularly in the under $400 segment. Whether that's due to its no-nonsense performance or the growing interest in revolvers for personal defense, one thing's clear: the 856 Defender has momentum. At the range, it's surprisingly shootable. That extra inch of barrel helps manage recoil better than a standard snub-nose while still staying compact enough to conceal easily. The trigger is decent, not match-grade, but consistent, and reliability has been solid across thousands of reported rounds. For many gun owners who've been burned by cheap semi-autos that jam stovepipe or flat-out fail under pressure, the Defender offers a simpler option: pull the trigger, get a bang, rinse and repeat. It's not fancy and it won't win beauty contests, but there's a reason it keeps showing up in holsters and glove boxes across the country. It earned its spot by delivering when it matters, and for under $400, that's no small feat. This isn't a comeback story, it's a breakthrough. The Kimber K6s isn't a revolver that shows up quietly. It looks sharp, feels premium, and carries itself with the kind of confidence that usually comes with a 3-figure bottle of whiskey. But what's most surprising is that this isn't just a pretty face, it performs like it means business. In a year packed with polymer carry guns, the K6s has carved out a space for shooters who want snub-nose concealability without compromising on firepower or shootability. Chambered in .357 Magnum, this 6-shot all-steel Dale revolver weighs in at just over 23 ounces. It's heavy enough to manage recoil, yet light enough to disappear under a t-shirt. Kimber made its name on stylish 1911s, but they brought that same design discipline into the K6s. The trigger pull is impressively smooth for a Dow gun stacking gradually with no gritty surprises. The cylinder locks up tight and the frame edges are clean and rounded for snag-free carry. On the range, it's easy to group shots, well, even at 10 to 15 yards. The factory sights, often neglected on snubbies, are sharp and properly regulated. This makes it more than a backup gun. It's something you can train with seriously, even push into primary carry territory. What also pushes it ahead of the curve in 2025 is the way it's been embraced by experienced shooters, folks who've tried the rest and settled on this for its balance of precision carryability and build quality. That kind of endorsement doesn't come from marketing hype. Kimber didn't just build a carry revolver. They engineered a tool that feels refined without being fragile. If you carry the K6s, you're not cutting corners, you're just skipping the noise. And when it goes off, that stainless steel bark speaks louder than a dozen striker-fired clicks. There's always been something magnetic about the King Cobra name. It evokes muscle attitude and that old-school Colt swagger. But in its latest iteration, the King Cobra has gone beyond nostalgia. It's become one of the most balanced real-world revolvers on the market today. This isn't just a rebranding exercise. Colt took the bones of its classic King Cobra and rebuilt it into something that feels equally at home in a range bag or on a nightstand. Chambered in .357 Magnum with a 6-round cylinder, it comes in 3 or 4-inch barrel configurations, both riding on a robust stainless steel frame that feels solid without tipping into boat anchor territory. The DA/SA trigger is smoother than many expected, with a crisp single-action break and a consistent double-action stroke that lends itself well to defensive shooting. The top strap is drilled and tapped for optics, which, while not essential, shows Colt is paying attention to how people want to run revolvers in 2025. At the range, it shoots flat and returns to target quickly. That shorter barrel still offers enough sight radius to land solid hits at defensive distances, and recoil is manageable even with hotter loads. While some Magnum revolvers feel like they're punishing you for shooting them, the King Cobra strikes a balance. It reminds you it's powerful without trying to break your wrist. Where it's gaining ground in sales is in that crossover market shooters who want a serious defensive tool with a bit of class. It's showing up more in holsters, glove boxes, and gun store counters across the country, taking bites out of both the semi-auto market and higher-end revolvers alike. Colt brought the King Cobra back with more than just heritage in mind. They brought it back to fight, and it's winning. For decades, the Smith & Wesson 642 has quietly stayed in circulation not because it's flashy, but because it solves a real problem. In a world where everyone's arguing over appendix carry holsters and optic ready slides, the 642 Airweight is still doing what it was built to do: disappear until it's needed and work without fail when it is. Weighing just 14.6 ounces and chambered in 38 Special Plus P. This 5-shot J-frame is about as straightforward as it gets. No external hammer, no manual safety, no flashy features, just a solid dowel trigger, a tight lockup, and a lightweight aluminum frame that won't pull your pants down. What's remarkable is that even in 2025, with dozens of micro-compacts flooding the market, the 642 continues to outsell many of them. It's consistently in the top tier for concealed carry revolvers, and retailers report strong demand, especially among buyers looking for something simple, light, and utterly dependable. On the range, it's not exactly a joy to shoot for long sessions. The lightweight that makes it great for carry also means recoil isn't cushioned much. But within 7 yards, the kind of distances where real trouble happens, it performs exactly as intended. The fixed sights are no frills, but they're regulated well enough to get rounds where they need to go. This gun isn't about impressing anyone, it's about survival. And that makes it incredibly appealing to a very specific kind of gun owner, one who's more concerned with what happens in a dark alley than at the local USPSA match. The 642 doesn't shout for attention. It just rides quietly in a pocket, waiting for the worst day of your life and offering 5 loud answers when that day comes. Before we wrap up, there's one more revolver that deserves a nod, not because it's breaking sales records, but because it's turning heads fast. The Diamondback SDR isn't here because of numbers yet, but it made waves at SHOT Show 2025 with its ultra-compact frame, radical design, and multi-caliber cylinder options. It's weird, it's wild, and it's already become a conversation piece in YouTube videos and Reddit threads. It hasn't outsold any semi-autos yet, but if attention turns into adoption, it just might sneak into the top 10 by next year. So maybe it's not just boomers and Western fanatics keeping the revolver alive. Maybe people are finally realizing that 6 shots of reliable, no BS firepower in a steel frame still matters, especially when you don't have time to clear a jam or cycle a slide with bloody hands. If you've carried a wheel gun, you get it. If you haven't, maybe it's time to find out what all the fuss is about. These aren't museum pieces anymore. They're selling, they're shooting, they're back. Which one would you trust your life with? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone, even the ones that call me names, especially those. I'll see you next time. And if you carry a revolver, you're not wrong.